Hey everyone, it's me, Alna from twinsmommy.com. And for today, I'm asking, is blogging dead because of AI? Here's what I'm going to tell you as a beginner blogger and to help you. Here's the truth. Now, just to let you know, I recently had 2 Pinterest accounts drop in traffic and ad revenue. I suspect it's because those sites are mostly AI and something got right. So maybe someone got a tip. I'm like, oh my gosh. So here's site 1. This is a 90-day view. So it went down a lot, you can see. And the second one also went down a lot, you can see. Both of these sites are in similar niches, but if you notice, they are still getting traffic, just not the same amount as previous. The first site is getting around 2,500 page views a month, and the second one is getting around 5,400 page views a month. And to tell the truth, I've been using AI a bit more in my content for personal sites and platforms. I want to see what will happen if I can still grow. Looks like I still can on those platforms. So if you're wondering if AI killed blogging, it did and it didn't. So let's look at how it killed it first. Some of this you'll see when I talk about what happened. I will give you but this happened instead too. And at the end, I'll give you what I feel you can still be a blogger through this AI era, even a freelance writer, because I'm also a freelance writer during this AI era right now. So the first thing is AI flooded the internet with cheap content. Now, what Google said was that mass produced low value content created primarily to rank in search results in bad, regardless of whether human or AI created. This is the same stance on all type of spammy, regurgitated, low content that people have been doing for decades now on Google. Examples, this is, and now they're using AI. So AI to generate thousands of articles with little editing. These are thousands that are pumped into Google daily. Okay, so think about that. Publishing large amounts of unoriginal content that adds little value, rewriting or spinning existing articles that target slightly different keywords. These are all spammy type of content that I feel us as bloggers and content creators, we're not doing any of this, right? I hope not. All right. I'm creating pages solely to capture search traffic. These are all old SEO stunts that I've heard over the years that just never worked, and they still don't work even with AI. And that's why many bloggers felt AI killed blogging. If you realize, there was probably articles about sort of a strategy of you find those low competition keywords and your goal is to publish 500 to 5,000 articles, over a span of years or whatever. Monetize with display ads and then scale with outsourced writers. This is sort of a strategy that a lot of SEOs created, sold with courses or memberships and stuff, and they showed people how to do this. AI made that strategy incredibly cheap and easy to copy. So suddenly everyone could publish hundreds or thousands of articles a month, which flooded search results with similar content and focused Google to respond with stricter spam policies and algorithm updates. I don't rely on Google to rank my content anymore, especially for my Twins Mommy site and my niche sites. My freelancing blog, yes, it still gets SEO traffic, and I am using longer tail keywords. I do have a video on that as a resource I'll share later on about that strategy, but it's not my main strategy anymore, and it shouldn't be for you guys. It should be Pinterest marketing. It should be other platforms, leveraging other platforms, okay? But just realize that Google is not saying no to AI. So after all of this, it really doesn't say anything that you cannot use AI. Google is using AI search to pull in links, and they have said it's okay if you use AI in your content writing process. So here's just a screenshot of Google AI overview on freelance writing trends. You can see that it pulled from my video and my blog. I have the stakehold on AI overview. If someone is researching what are the trends right now in freelance writing, boom, they're going to go to my brand, or they're going to see all of this and see what's going on. Number 2, ad networks started cracking down. For years, bloggers could scale websites using outsourced or templated content and monetize with display ads. This is a strategy that worked years ago. And like I said, SEO and content bloggers were creating courses around that strategy. And I started doing aspects of this years ago as well. Large ad companies are now actively reviewing AI usage policies. So Mediavine is a big ad platform that has publicly stated that it will not monetize low quality, mass produced, unedited or scraped AI content. Some publishers have reportedly lost monetization after this excessive use of AI. I lost a blog to Mediavine and had to go with Azoic because of that. I don't feel I'm publishing low quality, mass produced, unedited or scraped IA content at all on my sites. I do not do that. But I was cattled in with the bunch of hundreds of sites that they demonetized that they thought were AI. Now, it didn't say AI content in that whole thing with MediaMind. It just says low quality content or scraped content that could be AI. Okay, they do allow it. There are lots of media sites that are AI to a, if you can really look at and spot it, it looks AI, that are still getting monetized through Mediavine. AI overview answer questions without sending clicks. Now, this is interesting. You just saw an image of this, and if you were researching something like this, would you click on any of these on the side here? Would you I'm going to watch this video and see what it's all about? I'm going to click on this little bubble here and see what that's about. I don't know. Do you guys do that? I know I do. I still do because I want to know more information. But people are seeing a decrease. So historically, someone can search something like, how long does cooked chicken last? And they can click on your blog. Today, Google often answers that question directly in an AI summary. Now, for me, I usually just ask Alexa for these questions while I'm cooking. So even that has dropped in clicks to a blog for years now. Okay, so it's not something brand new, I feel. Now, several studies have found significant click-through declines when AI overview appears in search results, with some reporting reductions between 34 and 46% decrease. Now, I think this happened right when ChatGPT was super popular and it was getting everywhere in the news and people wanted to try it. So they didn't use Google. They weren't clicking through. Other reports estimate traffic losses of over 40% for some publishers. But you want to know something funny about all of this? AEO jobs are on the rise. Those are answer engine optimization jobs. And many clients want a freelance writer that understands this and AI search visibility. So brands want to be in that AI search results. And it's not because they think they won't get clicked on. So there's something here. If there are lots of jobs right now on the rise and writers need this skill, there's something here. So I just wanted to quickly show you that freelance writer, I knew her as a freelance writer, Kaylee Moore, but now she's moved on to having this whole shtick about AI search visibility. And so I'm reading a lot about it. But she posted here in her LinkedIn newsletter about these AEO jobs from big companies. You can see here Stripe, Amazon, Pfizer, even LinkedIn, Victoria's Secret, eBay, Anthropic, HubSpot, Citizens Bank, Texas Instruments. All of these big brands are now wanting someone high level with AEO experience. And this is a new job. It's so new that we don't know what to call it, if it's AEO or AI search or something else. It's all over the place right now. That's interesting to me as a freelancer. A lot of these roles are senior level. They're higher, directors, VP head of search, directors, senior manager, things like that, associate director. They're not sort of what I am targeting, but at least I know that if these people are hired, they're looking for writers like me who understand this. This is news to me that this is happening right now. If you see a big push like that, now that I'm telling you with brands wanting to be an AI search, it is in your vested interest to do the same as a content creator. Number 4, informational content became commoditized. Now, simple informational posts became the easiest targets for AI. So what is intermittent fasting, how to boil eggs, what is SEO? I mean, these are things where I was ranking for what is freelance writing. I was ranking for a lot of these informational types of posts, but because AI can do it easily, my posts don't rank anymore. Google is not favoriting these types of content. They're just using AI or Alexa or whatever to just tell us what it is quickly. So because of that, there's been a shift. Content creators and bloggers need to lean more into personal experience, original research, expert opinions, case studies, tutorials with screenshots, communities, and newsletters. We're going to go more into all of this in the next section about how AI isn't killing bloggers and content creators. But this is harder for AI to replicate. All right, we may be heading down the modal collapse or data contamination problem. Now, this is something that I've been hearing all over LinkedIn. This is AI slop. So it's content that is technically readable, but ultimately adds little value. It's generic, repetitive, lacks firsthand experience and exists primarily to capture search traffic and to help a real person. So examples might include like a 2,000-word article that says the same thing in 10 different ways. Could be product roundups written by someone who never used the products. This was relevant 5 years ago, and it still is. Recipe blogs that were never tested in a kitchen. Again, relevant 5 years ago, now it still is. The bigger concern, though, for me and what I've been hearing is that AI can create this content quickly. It's what happens when AI systems begin learning from a web increasingly filled with AI-generated content. Researchers call this the modal collapse or data contamination. It's the idea that if AI systems repeatedly train on synthetic content created by previous AI models, then the landscape of content just degrades over time. So instead of learning from that human experience and expertise, the models are learning from the output of other models. So for blogging, this creates a strange possibilities. Your AI is writing your article, let's say, for example, and then another AI system reads that article and cites it, right, in the AI overview. And then a third AI system summarizes the citation. So eventually, fewer humans are involved anywhere in the process. You end up with what feels like an ecosystem of AI talking to AI, while humans sit outside the conversation. This is what I've been hearing on LinkedIn. So this is not how AI systems work today. Companies are developing AI models actively to work to improve the source quality and reduce these problems, hopefully, right? But many creators, like I said, especially on LinkedIn, worry that the internet could become increasingly dominated by content that is technically correct while lacking experience, nuance, originality, or lived perspective. That's why expertise and the firsthand experience and original reporting may be more valuable. And it's true, like if everyone has the same access to these tools, then the differentiator has to become, what have you actually done? What have you tested? What have you learned? What can you say that no model can generate first patterns alone? That could be the biggest opportunity for bloggers in the AI area. So let's look at how AI is not killing blogging right now. We learned that AI removed the lowest quality content, but it did not remove blogging itself. Now, it's time to write more personal, firsthand accounts with experience and personality. This will build trust and a community around your brand. And of course, the personal brands are your edge. It's your competitive advantage right now. Now, especially on LinkedIn, personal brands are getting more recognized in Google. With AI search visibility and CEOs of large brands, realize that the CEO of Pfizer or the CEO of eBay or whatever are wanting to write thought leadership content on LinkedIn and have a newsletter on Substack and start a YouTube channel. You have a leg up already as a content creator. If they're doing it right now, you have been doing it, hopefully, for at least the last year. So if you haven't already, you can definitely start now by building that personal brand. And I suggest doing it with different platforms. You need to be everywhere all at once. I suggest start a YouTube channel. I've been trying to find newer bloggers out there that have a YouTube channel, and there are a few. Add to that mix and start a YouTube channel. Start a Substack. This is something that I recently started, and I'm having loads of fun with it. You can see here, I started the next chapter. And I'm having fun with this idea here of growing a Substack newsletter based on me being a mom, a writer, and a creator. So I'm sort of blending a lot of ideas like my Twins Mommy blog with my freelancing blog and all that into this newsletter and seeing what's sticking. Right now, actual writing stuff is a bit more popular, and it always is. Writing on a writing platform is always going to be more popular than anything else. But so I'm seeing what is working right now. But go ahead if you want. I'll drop a link to my Substack in the notes below. You can sign up and subscribe for free. I don't have a paid platform yet. I'm just growing naturally right now. So you can see here that Substack also is like a Twitter, like an X, where you can post, I don't know, every hour, every 5 minutes, you can post a little note here just to draw engagement. All right, so I'm really liking Substack at the moment. Go ahead and start a LinkedIn profile. Bloggers are on LinkedIn now. So someone here, I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry, Sweta Sharma. I found her on Substack, and she is a freelance writer, but she's also just a content creator. She writes about things for creators. So she's really helping creators here. And so she's a blogger. She has her own site. She has her own Substack. She's trying to get followers here. She has 7,000 followers right now. And so she publishes different types of content here. Perplexity to find a specific blog post of mine. And then she talks about all this and her writing strategy and all of this stuff she talks about. So creating content. Right. So you can definitely create a LinkedIn profile if you want. And, some people are just resharing what they shared on Substack to LinkedIn, what they're resharing on their blog to LinkedIn. You can do things like that and add just a certain twist. But the thing with LinkedIn to grow is to be personal, to have that shtick, whether it's coaching or content creation or Pinterest marketing or even meal prepping or parenting or things like that, where you can have your expert opinions on LinkedIn. And every now and then try to write almost like a mini blog post, 1,500 words to 2,000. This is something that I'm going to start doing. I'm going to try. I've learned this with the AI search visibility content that I'm reading, that a lot of thought leaders are now writing longer blog posts to get cited by Google's AI search, right? So LinkedIn is a big platform that Google will cite, as well as YouTube. I am interested in that aspect. And then you can start on Instagram and TikTok. Now I have those platforms. I don't publish on them as often. I try to, but not as often. But I still have that. Sort of arm in my creator platform. So all of this is on top of your blog. So when you build that creator platform like this, Google will notice you, hopefully, and your brand will help you build that traffic and income. So I am doing this with my Elna Kane freelance writing blog right now. And so my LinkedIn and maybe my Substack, and my YouTube, all of that is cohesive. AI has made blogging a lot faster. That's because Google and other platforms don't care if you use AI. I asked Google this, and this is the AI overview. Google does not penalize content for being created with AI tools, okay? They focus on whether the final output is helpful, original, and trustworthy. Do what you want with that, but you can use AI, but make sure you add human writing to it and make it valuable, personable, and trustworthy. This is something I need to start doing for my niche websites by being more helpful, right? I'm trickling that and starting to do that. So go ahead and use AI for blog outlines, for ideas, for research, and for some of your writing, like an intro, a conclusion, a what do I need in my section of a blog post, and more things like that. Okay. Now, if you want some help about AI search visibility, I do have a post on I ranked #1 using AI content. So can AI content really rank and stay there? I have a video there, so I'll link to it for sure. Now, let me know if you have any specific questions about AI and blogging, or if you think AI is dead because you have no traffic. So as you saw, I am on the same boat as you, but I am doing things. I want to do things and be active. So let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my Substack if you want. All right, I'll see you in the next video.